We have endured a period of tragedy, disorientation, frustration, and grief. Our public health systems have been challenged, and so has our local economy in ways that we never, frankly, could have imagined. Yet here we are, a year later, poised to emerge, growing back stronger, getting back to a normal way of life, and thanks to the incredible dedication of all of our county residents adhering to the county's health orders, and the relentless efforts of our county health team, led by our Department of Health and Human Services and all of our public health officials, our essential workers are just risking their lives to serve our most vulnerable populations. We have truly come together as a community in ways both big and small to get through this unprecedented time. Montgomery County has consistently ranked at the top of jurisdictions, not just in the state of Maryland, but around the country for jurisdiction of our size, and kept our residents safe with low cases of test positivity rates, and now proudly in the percentage of vaccinations that we've been able to provide to our public. Our public health team and our HHS team have truly been heroic, and I especially want to thank Dr. Kroll, Dr. Gales, Dr. Stoddard, and all of the members of their respective teams who have answered all of our calls at all hours, who have addressed complex constituent issues and organizational issues in ways that are profound, and have done it while getting lots of attacks from a number of members of our community and through a variety of different sectors, but did it with pride and did it knowing that they were doing it to keep us all safe. Truly remarkable. And I know we are here to talk about the budget, but I also want to thank especially our residents who have understood that this has been an extraordinary challenge and a heavy lift. We, sitting as the Board of Health, have done our best to adjust to this time by allocating resources to stand up the hubs, to help our economy, to help our small local businesses, and in a variety of different sectors. And I never could have imagined, as the chair of our county's Health and Human Services Committee, what would have transpired this last year. There have been countless meetings and discussions and debates, frankly, about how best to address this pandemic. But it has been such an honor to serve in that capacity, along with my colleagues, council members Rice and Glass, who have been tremendously patient with me and have answered all of my calls at all hours. And I've appreciated your guidance. I've appreciated your leadership. And I can't imagine having done any of this without both of you and frankly, all of my colleagues at various points. With the help of federal resources, we've been able to really get through not just this budget, but this last year. I really especially want to thank the leadership of President Biden and our federal delegation, who have been tremendous partners throughout this entire pandemic, not just providing federal resources, but helping troubleshoot at all times and address all issues. We've dedicated millions of dollars, thanks to that federal aid, to assist with basic needs such as food and housing. And we've targeted funds for daycare to our medical and dental communities to make sure they could preserve through this uncertain time. And in the early days of the pandemic, we provided over $26 million to small local businesses, standing up a process in record time to be able to address their needs. And that has obviously expanded since then. And I was reflecting the other day, and this is, there have been so many heroes, and I loved early on when we acknowledged heroes in our community. And the first person that I acknowledged was Dr. Mike Greenberg. He's one of many angels, such as Grace Rivera Oven and so many others that have stepped up in such heroic ways this last year. But at one point, Dr. Greenberg and his wife, into the wee hours of the morning, out of trash bags and anything that they could get their hands on, were making PPE for service providers to our developmental disability community, when we couldn't get our hands on the most basic products that we needed to keep our community members and our constituents, especially those most vulnerable, safe. What Mike did was remarkable, and that is just such a strong example of how so many people have stepped forward in this last year. I also want to especially thank our minority health initiatives and programs Por Nuestra Salud y Bienestar is one of my proudest moments, and I know it is for Council Member Navarro as well, as we came together quickly in a matter of weeks to stand up a heroic effort, which I think is going to outlast all of us. And I also want to thank Council Members Jawando and Rice for their leadership in our African American community for quickly standing up that initiative as well, which also stands a strong chance of growing and helping address the public health disparities that existed prior to the pandemic once and for all. I next want to highlight some items in the budget that I'm especially proud of within our HHS committee, where we were able to double the amount of provider administrative expenses for our nonprofit providers, which, as we know, are not just an extension of our county government, but our partners in helping to strengthen our social safety net. I also, and to expand those contracts to departments that have contracts through recreation, as well as housing and community affairs, was also very important. We increased the developmental disability supplement. We increased the adult mental daycare supplement. We provided healthcare for the homeless. We added healthcare for the homeless fund. We added funds for Care for Kids. We were able to initiate our county's dental program. Special credit to Councilmember Rice for taking a lot of interest in that issue, which is a fundamental issue and one that's very important moving forward. And of course, we spent a half an hour acknowledging Mental Health Awareness Month and Every Mind and all of the incredible organizations that are in that space, because we're just now coming into focus the needs that are going to be necessary in that space coming out of this. And I do want to thank the council president and his partnership in standing up our mobile health clinics and our mobile crisis clinics, which the county executive, to his credit, expanded as well. We did fully fund MCPS and Montgomery College, and there is no question that our public health and community leaders have sustained Montgomery County through this most critical time during the pandemic. This especially holds true for our first responders and emergency response teams. And I want to thank Chairman Katz and our Public Safety Committee for all they've done in their efforts to help ensure public safety for all of our county residents. With respect to our emergency response and coordination, the council unanimously approved funding to add 2 full-time positions to our Office of Emergency Management. We also have stood up funding for so many departments and agencies, especially our Office of Human Rights, which finally received some additional supports and funds to get staff support that they so sorely needed. So we've come a long way. And the last 2 items that I want to mention are the Working Families Income Supplement. And I want to thank Councilmember Navarro for co-leading that effort, and all of my colleagues for unanimously co-sponsoring, making sure that we provide additional resources to families. And with that, families are going to receive that qualify about $907. And because of our efforts, every county resident, regardless of where they came from or their status, will be able to receive those funds as well. And I am especially proud that we were able to address the municipal tax issue in a way that's meaningful and that pushes us forward. This budget represents so much hope. And finally, I want to thank Susan Farag, Linda McMillan, and Vivian Yao in particular for your efforts through both the HHS and Public Safety Committee. And last but way not least, my team. Whew. I have leaned so heavily on all of you this last year. I could not have gotten through this. Both Joy, Lily, Maida, and Beth, the hours spent just dealing with constituent issues, preparing budgets, tackling really complex issues, just such an amazing team. You guys are family, you're family. So thank you all so much. I yield back to you, Mr. President. This does represent so much hope on so many different levels, and I just am so proud to serve with all of you.